Looks like the odds are going to be really good to win the online drawing.
Mila will still win.
What's that?
Mila will still win.
All right.
The presents, huh?
Hold your ears, everybody. All right. So what do we have for the on-time drawing?
We have a rock
What is
title.
this?
It's a rock title cooler.
Ooh.
I tried to get as much as I could in that bag.
And some folders, gold, white, black folders, mouse pad, other stuff.
Ice cube maker.
All right. So we have a 1 in 8 chance of winning. I should say you have a 1 in 8 chance of winning. All right, the winner is number 4. I don't know. Here,
Handwriting?
somebody read that for me. Number 4.
It's Michael.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
Juliana?
That's me.
Oh. All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. I never win anything.
Well, you got a good one today.
Now you can't say that. Yeah, you won a good one. All right. Clicker. All right. Check in on Facebook. Make sure you take pictures along the way. This is our Rev Up trainings coming up. So tomorrow is number 10. Module number 10 is closing the sale and creating clients for life. John is the instructor on that one. That's going to be at the Summerlin office. And then next Wednesday, we're starting fresh again. So it's Module 1, Intro to Rev Up and GPS. Tim is the instructor on that, and it's going to be here in this office. So the next 10, starting next Wednesday, are going to be here. And then next Friday is Module 2, your database is your business and creating your online presence. And I will be the instructor on that one next Friday. So if you go to any of them, go to next Fridays. All right, our food truck, every Thursday there's a food truck out in the parking way, out in that parking lot. And it's the Brudas. The Brudas Grinds. So don't ask me what kind of food they have. I'm guessing, what do you think? Hawaiian food? What do you think? He just moved here from Hawaii. All right. There's no meeting next Thursday. You know, they say going to the division hearings are really cool. Have any of you ever been to division hearings? You have. Jeff, you ever been to a division?
No, is it the next Thursday?
It's next Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. So they say that you never want to be an invited guest to these hearings. It's great to go because you get to watch the hearings and you get CE credits for it. And so it's really cool. But again, you never want to be an invited guest. What do I mean by that?
Because you're invited, you're being summoned.
I'm an invited guest to the division hearing next week.
are?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's not something, don't whoa, she's like, oh. It's not something I did.
It's not one of your people.
One of our 1,600 agents, actually one of our former agents.
Oh.
Because the minute we found out what she had done, we sent a license back to the division. But yeah, so I won't get into it, what she did. I won't tell you that she does all these, and did fraud, but that's what she did. And so I get to be an invited guest on the real estate thing. Should be interesting because I've been there as a guest watching it, but I've never been an invited guest. So should be fun.
Yeah.
All right. So for that reason, so I'm supposed to be there on Tuesday. If they don't call the case on Tuesday, I have to be back on Wednesday. If they don't call the case on Wednesday, I have to be back on Thursday. So I don't know if I'm gonna be here or not Thursday, so that's why we are not going to do a meeting next week. All right, but the following week, on the 23rd, we're gonna have Damon in. What? Damon come in, talk about geographic farming. So I've been preaching lately that, I've been preaching for a long time that, I mean, we need to become listing agents. You gotta list to less, you gotta list homes. And geographic farming is a great way of getting listings. And clearly, Damon's been around a long time, and he's done farming, and he does a great class. So be here on the 23rd for Damon's geographic farming class. All right. Who joined us on May 1st? Jenna did. There's a handful. Was it pretty rewarding?
Yes.
Yeah, it really, really was. So we went down to 3 Square and we helped, you know, wherever we could. We had 2 groups. One was in the kitchen, the other was doing the back-breaking work. And you know, it was so rewarding. Several agents had come up to me and said, "Can we do this, you know, another time, or is it just on May 1st?" So we may, at some point, get a group together and go down there again and do it. Stephanie was even saying that she would like to take her kids down there to volunteer. Yeah, so probably going to do it again at some point. All right, hydrating the homeless. We're behind. We're behind big time, and we're going to May 15th, and Charles is going to come and pick up all the water. I still have a whole bunch of, you know, maybe I'll go this afternoon. And
Right now we have 1,400 bottles.
we have 1,400 of the 4,000 goal. I think I'll be picking up probably, I don't know, at least 20 cases or more. So, maybe who's gonna bring some water? Bring a case, just bring a case, that's all we need. If you need help getting it from your car in, you know, we have Angel here. You knew that's what I was gonna say, didn't you? But yeah, so, you know, every year, right, it gets hot here in Las Vegas, it really does. And, you know, if this is one little thing that we could do to help out the homeless, you know, standing on the corners or whatever, you know, and help hydrate them. One of our very own agents, Charles, is the guy that heads up this, and every year he's out there handing out water. So if you could help out, that would be much appreciated. All right, this is Mike Ferry's Superstar Retreat. It is July 16th to the 19th here in Las Vegas at the Venetian. This is early bird pricing, goes to the 30th. I don't know what it is now. I'll see if I can get an updated flyer. But yeah, so it's really, really good. Mike is a super good speaker and has a lot of great ideas in how to generate business. And I'm sure he'll be talking a lot about you know, the lawsuit and the settlement and everything, on how that affects our business going forward. All right, baseball, my favorite event that we have every year. So it is July 20th, and we have a whole section that's roped off, that's just ours. There's a full-on buffet, food, and everything, and then we get to watch some baseball and just hang out and have a good time together. So that's gonna be July 20th. We're not exactly sure of the price. We're pretty sure that was the price from last year. So we're gonna get the exact price and the menu, what they're going to be serving. It's a really fun event. All right, let's talk about some stats. So the stats are active listings, 5,029. That really hasn't changed much in a few weeks. The single family is 3,544. Under contracts and sold, 3,520, sold 2,816. This is the number. Months inventory, 1.7. That has come down again. We were hanging at 2 months for the longest time, and then over the past week to 2 weeks, that number has come down. That number just says that if no new homes came on the market, we would be out of inventory in 1.7 months. What it means is that we're in a huge seller's market right now, because a normalized market is 4 to 6 months. A buyer's market is above that. So that says that we're in a seller's market. So let's compare these numbers to the numbers from just 2 weeks ago. You see the active listings are about the same. The under contracts, little more before, but the solds are a lot more in the recent one, and that's why the inventory number has come down. So use these stats to talk to your clients about what's going on in the market. You know, my job is to educate you so that you go out and educate your buyers and sellers on what's going on in the market. We get this to you in your weekly email, your newsletter. It's in our social media and our Facebook groups. You can just grab it and put it on your social media, or just have it in your head. All right, let's talk about the Narcellin. Who wants to talk about Narcellin? What are you guys hearing out there? Nothing?
A lot of people saying, I think this and I think that.
Yeah. A lot of misinformation out there. You know, there's people that are saying, well, now sellers won't have to pay buyers' commissions anymore. You know, I've heard agents say that, and it couldn't be further from the truth. The only thing, and we got a new memo recently, and it just kind of reiterates a lot of the things that we already know. So it tells us, you know, the first and foremost of what's going to happen is no longer is offer of compensation going to be on the MLS. No longer. Does that mean the seller can't pay the buyers commissions? No, it's just not on the MLS. So, and the other main thing about it is that when you work with buyers, you got to put them in a buyer brokerage agreement. Here's a question that comes up a lot: is who's going to, you know, police that? Who's going to police that we have buyer brokerage agreements signed when we take out buyers? We're going to police it. Your friends are going to turn you in if you don't. That's going to happen. What else could happen is, you know, if your files ever get audited, they can see whether you had your buyer in a buyer brokerage agreement prior to an offer being written, or prior to going out and showing. So buyer brokerage agreements are going to be a requirement here on out. Always been a good idea. Now it's just a requirement. It's easy to get them signed if it's a requirement. You know, you just say, hey, it's the law. I have no choice. Yeah, Jackie.
That starts now, that starts after this goes into effect?
That's a great question. So Jackie says, does it start now or does it go once it goes into effect? Once it goes into effect. Here's another question. When does it go into effect? August 17th is that date.
That's Saturday.
Is that a Saturday?
Yeah, it's odd.
That is odd. Make sure I got it right. Yeah, August 17th. So, yeah. Get in the habit now. Get in the habit now of having a good buyer's presentation. Sit down with your buyer and go over that buyer brokerage agreement. Get in that practice now. Who is already doing buyer brokerage agreements? Yeah, they're not difficult, are they? No. Yeah, is you sit down and have a good presentation. Now, what's gonna be different come August 17th is you're not gonna know how much the seller is going to be offering. So what do you have to do?
Call the listing agent.
Yeah.
Negotiate with the listing
Yeah.
agent.
Sometimes it's going to be negotiated, absolutely. Now, forms are gonna change. Our listing agreement most definitely is going to change. Our residential purchase agreement is most definitely gonna be changed. I'm sure the BBA, the buyer brokerage agreement, is gonna change as well. And we're going to have new forms. So when we were at the 3 Square on last Friday, the president of NVR called me up and said, hey Mark, I'm trying to get some of the large brokerages together and put together a PAG, and so that we can work on best practices going forward. So I'm part of that group now. So if you guys have any concerns or questions, I put it out there to the managers already, and Pat had some great questions that he wanted me to ask. So if you have anything, reach out to me and I'll bring those up at those PAG meetings. Don't ask me what PAG means. You know what a PAG is? It's something action group or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so any questions on any of the settlement or anything? Mike?
So after all this is done, which is July, August, November, do you have any update on whether DOJ can go after the AR?
No, that's a good question. So Michael wants to know about the DOJ. So what we have is, we have two separate issues, as Michael knows. We have the issue with the lawsuit, the court, the settlement. That's one thing over here. And then we have the DOJ coming after us as well and want to change how we do business. Pretty much the speculation right now is that NAR has already talked to the DOJ and said, this is what we're proposing, what do you guys think? And the speculation is the DOJ was okay with it. That's all speculation at this point. The DOJ can come back and say, no, that's not enough. We want your industry to do this. It's a possibility. We don't know until it happens. So, yeah, great question, Michael. Yeah.
Are the commissions still being collected in escrow?
Are the commissions still being collected in escrow? Yeah.
That was one of my questions for our panel today.
Okay.
So you can answer it.
No, we'll take it to the panel. Good question.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
Not so much of a question, but isn't that part of the settlement already outlining a lot of some of the questions that we just talked about?
There is, it's very vague. I mean, the whole settlement is like 110 pages. So it does go into a lot of that. But there's a lot of unanswered questions as well. One of the questions is, if I'm doing an open house, does the buyer have to sign a buyer brokerage when they come in? No. There'll be a different type of form when they sign into the sign-in sheet for that. So there's still, there's a lot of unanswered questions on that.
And of course, it's not gonna be called a, commission or anything like that. I mean, verbiage or anything like that will have to be probably adjusted as well, or like concessions instead of.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, that's a good point is, will the lenders, and when I'm talking about lenders, I'm talking about Fannie and Freddie, will they allow the buyer to roll that into their loan? Speculation is at some point they will, but they move slow, so that could take, a lot longer. That could take a year. Also, what's going on with VA? Because VA can't even pay a transaction fee right now. How are they gonna be able to pay what's that?
They can't even pay for a termite inspection.
Yeah. So, from what I understand, NAR has already reached out to the VA and those, put that into the works already. So there's a lot that's going to change. Our industry is changing. Our industry is changing a lot right now. But I've been doing it for almost 30 years now. Our industry's changed a lot over 30 years. Yeah, this is probably the biggest change in my 30 years, but I've seen some other big ones along the way too. We'll survive. I'm not worried. And I don't think any of you need to be worried either. Any other
Mark,
questions?
did you ever find out, like, on a rental, it's a referral,
Yeah.
it's one company paying another?
Yeah.
Did you see Jack Hayes' post where he posted that flyer from a builder in California that's offering a 2.5% referral to agents? I mean, that's not the buyer or the seller
So
paying, that's one
California
company
agents?
paying another
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
Well, you can do it on a sell.
Yeah, so are builders paying a commission or are they paying a referral fee? All that will be worked out. A lot of these questions will be answered at some point. Michael?
So what would be the overall impact of all these changes on existing future agents?
So, Michael wants to know what will be the impact on existing and future agents.
Are we gonna have less agents?
Yeah.
Are we gonna have only the strongest survive?
Yeah. Yes, on both counts. I believe, early on when this first happened, the speculation was, we're gonna lose half of our agents. And what did I read? There's 1.5 million agents or realtors in the US right now. In southern Nevada, we've lost like 2% over the past year. That's not a whole lot. Because, in downturn markets, those of us that have been around a while have seen the agent count go way lower than that. So I think we're gonna lose agents, I really do. Are we gonna lose half? No, in my opinion, we're not. But like you said, Michael, only the strong will survive. That's always been the case, no matter what market we're in. It's those agents that are out there hustling and working hard are the ones that end up making the money and doing the business. So, work hard. It's all it takes. It's just a little bit of hard work. All right, any other questions? More to come. We're going to discuss this every single week. Whether there's new stuff, like the August 17th, it literally just came out this week, I believe. We're going to talk about it every single week. We don't need to be afraid. We really don't. There's 16 states out there right now that require the buyer brokerage agreement. For 5 years, I worked in one of those states. Utah. I did real estate in Utah for 5 years. The buyer brokerage agreement was required. It was no big deal. Clients knew that they had. The only difference is there you had to get it signed prior to writing the purchase agreement, kind of like the duties owed for us. Now it's just before we even take them out, we need it.
And on that note, in a different class that I took, they said that that's something they're gonna be looking out very closely now, just having the duties all signed way ahead of, any other paper, including the mortgage brokerage.
So here's a best practice on that, good point, is get that duties owed signed the same time you get the buyer brokerage agreement. Also, best practice is get all the other, like the lead-based paint, all the other disclosures, get them signed at that time. Here's the reason why. So many agents, not Real T1 agents, other agents, sometimes they're not getting those disclosures, signed until after they're in contract, maybe, days before closing, and they see all these disclosures like, oh, you mean I could have got this inspection? Oh, I could have got this inspection? Why didn't you tell me before? So get those disclosures signed up front, and you'll be a lot better off that way. All right, let's move on. We have rock title in the house. Felicia is here.
All right.
And
All right, you
we're
all.
going to have,
So we have 3 of 6, but that's okay. Come on up, you guys. 4 of 6. Sorry, 4 of 6.
Yeah,
That's
like-
right.
am I just running?
So good morning. I'm excited because we had a big change in ROC this year, and that was the movement of our northwest operations coming down to our southwest office. So for those that have been in our southwest office, you now have an additional 2 escrow officers. Jamie still being in Green Valley, branch manager. Kathleen LaMarche out of Southwest, branch manager here. Laura, as a lot of you already know Laura, she comes in a lot. And then Jennifer Croft. So I'm gonna let each one of them introduce themselves today, a little bit of bio, and then we're gonna stay fresh on the NAR subject because that was one of the questions.
Cool.
So we'll have Jen kick that off.
If you want.
And before I ask any questions, of course I know what to ask them. It's about you guys. This is an opportunity for you to reach out with any question you have, whether you have an escrow with us or not, anything in general, and if there's any new agents in the room, just understanding the process. So this is just completely open to you guys first, and you can all take the lead. I don't need to do this, so. All right, thanks you guys.
Who's starting first? Okay. I'm Jamie Newmeyer. I'm branch manager of Green Valley and also escrow officer. I have been with ROC almost 5 years from California, but I've been doing escrow for 25 years. Good God. So yeah, I love working with all of you guys, and if you need anything from me, let me know.
My name is Kathleen LaMarche, Senior Escrow Officer, Southwest, branch manager. I was branch manager of the Northwest as well. I've been in escrow for 30 years, with Mark. So we've seen a lot of changes, as he said. Got a lot of experience, I think, between all of us collectively. So any questions, we're here for you. Bring us your escrows.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Croft, escrow officer in the Southwest. I was in the Northwest with Kathleen. I've been with ROC Title for 3 years. Before that, I was with Chicago Title, and I migrated from California, San Diego, where I was an escrow officer out there. I have been an escrow officer for about 20-21 years. Hi guys, my name's Laura. I'm in the Southwest office. I come to a lot of your meetings. I know most of you already. I love what I do. I'm very hands-on with my escrows. I like to meet you all individually if I get a chance, and I'm always here for you, whatever you guys need.
How many years have you been in escrow?
I've been doing it for about 10 years.
So, if my math is correct, we have 85 years of experience right here. This is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's stay fresh on the NAR. Jennifer, I think, has a good idea of how it's working or how you see it working come all of the changes. How does it tie in with title and escrow?
Well, I think, it's hard to say now. Definitely, I think we're gonna need more forms, because as escrow, we need to be instructed to pay the commissions, as we do now. So we'll definitely need a copy of the buyer brokerage agreement. And then just, I think, knowing upfront whether or not we're paying a buyer's commission, because it's gonna have to be disclosed to the lender, I think, right away. Just getting that information up front, and really, I think it just depends on what forms are created in the future for this, and what we'll need. But we'll definitely need instructions and maybe separate buyer commission instructions, so that we can pay you through closing.
I also think that basically we're kind of the second role into all of this.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna learn, what docs you have to have and what new procedures are gonna happen. And then we kind of follow what happens with that. So whatever new forms, like she said, buyer brokerage agreement, any other forms that you're gonna have, that's gonna come after you guys have already decided. So we, like she said, we follow.
Well, and then with the lenders as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
they're willing to
Yeah.
agree to or not
Yeah,
agree to.
whether or not the buyer can get loan approval with paying that amount of commission
Right.
on top of their closing costs, you know, or included in their closing
Or if
costs.
they integrate a credit from the
Yeah.
seller to
Yeah.
cover something.
There is, you know, several
gonna be a
states
challenge.
and cities where the buyer, it's already customary for a buyer to pay their own commission, you know, so, and those markets are still good, you know, so, you know, I think, I'm definitely concerned to see what's gonna happen, just like anyone else, but, you know, I've seen it in other states working out, so I'm not, you know, too
I
worried.
think once they figure out the details, there'll be
Yeah.
clear instruction from the top on how this is supposed to go. They're not gonna leave you guys hanging.
Yep.
You have strong guidance here at Realty One. You guys have a strong support group, especially in the Southwest, so you're gonna be on your own trying to figure it out.
Okay, so any other questions on the NAR and escrow?
Just a comment, and I've been researching myself because obviously it affects my business. I want to make sure that I get a little bit ahead. So I know that I reach out so much, like in California, I know that people who have experience in California, you do a lot of the work out front with the seller. You know, and obviously now with that changing, there might be something there where like, you know, we normally open escrow with, this is the co-op, this is basically, you know, brokers, you know, buyer's fee, a compliance fee and all that. I normally include that in my email. Being the case that we can't obviously do that, or if we have a prior agreement with the leasing agent indicating, hey, this is the concession, that maybe the seller will be covering, what will be something that you probably need to have from the seller point of view ahead of time. So if I have a listing, I could collect that. And I know forms are gonna come and maybe change, but are you gonna be requiring maybe a listing agreement or anything like that from where the seller indicates that there will be an additional concession given?
I think
Yeah.
that, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
definitely be doing that, but we don't know exactly what forms yet.
Regardless
Yeah.
who's paying it, we're gonna have to have instructions.
Something in
And
writing.
then whatever anyone decides to name it, it's gonna have to be named that. If it's a concession or
Yeah.
a referral, that was my thoughts was, well, why can't the listing agent give a referral fee to
Yeah.
the selling agent? You know, to get around that, their portion, you know, percentage or whatever.
Larger seller credits for closing costs and, you know, as part of the buyer's closing costs.
And is there anything specific you guys are talking about renaming on the settlement statement, what it would show as? or-
Depends on what you all.
I
Yeah,
heard
they need to find out what we're doing.
They're gonna want copies.
And industry first.
Once the RPA gets changed or there's disclosures, we're gonna want copies so we can review with legal and decide what we need to do at our end.
I wonder if we're gonna turn a little more into like California based where we start amendments and all of that.
Yeah,
That
right.
probably,
Well,
since
And
we're
we
probably
have
taking away
separate commission
commission.
instructions out in California, we have the
Exactly.
sellers in here.
That's what I'm
just
thinking,
taking
I'll
out one
revise
form.
ours to accommodate the selling agent for.
However, we're doing it.
So Kathleen, you mentioned escrow instructions. Can you just kind of tell us what that is and who prepares the escrow instructions?
Our escrow instructions, well, ours are follow the contract, they're a general, they follow your contract, so, but there are, I mean, I still, cause I come from an amendment era of escrows where we used to hand type everything. If I don't get something that I feel is comfortable in my file as paper trail, I will type up an amendment myself and have buyer seller sign. So it's just, we have to have written instructions agreed, and when it comes to commissions, your brokers have to, you know, agree and say yes to it as well. That's why we have you sign commissions, cause that's kinda your time card for us to pay you.
Yeah.
So it kinda just, it's gonna be difficult until it starts coming into fruition for everybody.
Do the escrow instructions come out? What can they expect, and anybody can answer this, not every escrow desk is the same, exactly to the T.
None of us.
So what should the agents expect at opening when an escrow comes in? You get the email and you open an escrow. What's next? What should they expect next in the next few days?
For me, when I open the escrow, I send out a thank you, welcoming letter asking now, what is your commission split? What is your brokerage transaction fee? When we know what it's gonna be called, I'll be reverbaging that. What is your listing agent split, and is there any concessions or for the selling agent? Just to give us a heads up front, so we know, we can put it in our settlement statement, So it's not missed and we know to address it when we disclose fees to the lender, it's on there.
So
Upfront.
efficiency wise, it makes sense that when the escrow or the email comes to you initially with opening of escrow, maybe they just say that and cross their T's, dot the I's.
Yeah.
and
Have
just
all
make
that
sure that
information
The
on
more
there.
information you provide when you open the
Right.
escrow, the smoother it will be, and the easier it will go.
And if you're on the listing side, I would recommend opening that escrow even before you have a buyer. Just wanna throw that little tip out, cause then you have all that covered.
Why is
Yeah.
that?
Oh, lots of reasons. Well, not only just to have all of that information up front and then have the seller's, contact information for any reason, but we're gonna pull that prelim. We're gonna make sure we're reading those schedules and they're gonna be tackling anything that they see on the schedules that needs some, additional help prior to.
Plus, and
something
put
the
your
seller
seller and
wasn't aware
buyer
of.
into a 30% discount with
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
escrow
And the
fee.
discount, we can't forget about the discount.
And it helps make you aware of maybe something the seller wasn't aware of. Like, I heard someone talking around the office yesterday, a seller didn't know they had a credit line that was 20 years old, but, so.
I have a really good example at Deal Upon Debt that came out on that prelim, and now we know that it couldn't be insured, so that was.
The deed
Yeah.
upon death? Is that what you said?
It was a Deal Upon Debt that had
You
just.
have to wait the 90 days
Correct.
after publishing. Yeah,
Correct.
I'm actually at my 90 days that we're gonna close on the 13th for one.
Yes. Well, that
Because I
time when
didn't
I
know.
had that, it was actually even longer, he just changed
It was
the 90
18
days.
months,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
So Kathleen, you mentioned 30% discount. Can you tell us a little more about that?
When you go for your listing, or you're gonna go for a listing, you could contact any one of us, whoever you wanna bring your escrow to. And then, you just tell us you're gonna go to a listing, ask us to, start a prelim for you. We can get a property profile for you for your listing agreement, which, Jackie's really quick at. That has a know before you list, which if there's liens or judgments, it will kinda give you the basics. And then, if you put in the MLS, I
Your
don't know the
specific-
exact verbiage.
I have a coupon for everybody, I'll hand it out.
Yeah. Stating that title work's already been started at Rock Title, seller prefers site, whatever the exact verbiage, we don't want you to get in trouble. Then, when you do bring us that escrow, then both the buyer and the seller will get 30% off their escrow fee. So it's a good sale for, the buyers to get that as well, not
Plus,
just
if
your
you've
seller.
already started a prelim, you could say, we've already reviewed everything.
And everything's
And
been
it
cleared.
helps you sway, the escrow to rock.
That verbiage will need to go into the agent-to-agent remarks.
A lot of you see that already, I'm sure, in a lot of different, listing notes, it's agent to agent only. I have a question on the opening that's important, cause I get asked that a lot, and I'm like, well, we'll have to talk to the escrow officer. So everybody kind of possibly does this differently, but if I was to ask you when you open the escrow to order everything from HOA, including the resale package, is that something that you do? Laura, can you?
We will, yeah. I mean, it's easy for us to order the demand and the resale package at the same time. Sometimes the HOA won't allow us to do the resale package, but in that case, we'll let you know. It's very few and far.
And there's a few that will only allow it.
Yeah.
That too, and another thing, when resale started going that way, we were not allowed to order for the agents had to do it. We don't know what to order. Sometimes, do you want an inspection? Do you not want one? There's different options, so that kind of puts us in a little bit of a question, so we generally don't order the inspection. We figure the buyer is already doing one and, but we also have a disclosure that everybody signs that we're not responsible for any HOA fines, so that's up to the buyer to investigate, which covers that way.
When it comes to condos, the lenders got, they have to, they do the condo cert and the questionnaire. Do you guys assist with that, or is that just something they just directly do?
They do directly.
Cause there's a big problem with questionnaires right now.
Yes.
Condos will not answer 2 questions.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
Which
Yeah.
one is, have you had a
Yeah.
structural inspection, and when was the last time you had a structural inspection? After the Miami condo.
They charge an arm and a leg for their 10 questions too,
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, like $125, $150 for a one form
Yeah.
questionnaire, takes 10 days to get.
Yeah,
And they
that they
like-
just print out, they don't.
Yeah, it's already answered.
It's already answered, yeah.
So we use a system, software system for our escrows called Qualia Connect. who can chat about how that works and what to expect and how they can get some help using it if they have kind of any, like,
Well,
first what it is.
First of all, it's a personal portal for you and then also for your client as well. It's not a portal we absolutely have to use, so if you get into there and you just kind of feel like, this is too much, let us know, we can deactivate it. But basically it's a task-driven system, so it will say you have a task and then it'll ask you you as an agent, like your client's information, listing side, HOA information. So it's just easy sometimes to just go in and fill that out and then you don't have to email that stuff. There are a handful of agents that prefer not to use it. I'm fine with that, but just let me know and I can deactivate it.
What's the percentage of transactions that are actually using Qualian?
Well, automatically, once we enter in the email address, it actually populates it to send an email to the agent.
And to the buyer
and to the buyer and
once you
seller.
put that email address in.
I would
Yeah.
say a lot, I mean, a lot of agents use it.
They
It's
do.
good because when we share documents, you could always go into the portal and pull like the final closing statement, maybe we sent it, maybe, 6 months later, you wanna send it to your seller again or buyer, so you can just log into your portal, all your closings that you've had with our company are gonna show in your account, and you can just go and re-download that closing statement instead of waiting for the escrow officer or the assistant to respond to your email. So sometimes, it's really good, but a lot of agents, everybody has so many portals these days with everything,
Yeah.
it's all included,
Yeah.
it can get frustrating, so.
Protects personal information. Now with so much fraud out there, we like to keep social security numbers. I mean, we have a lot of data that we're collecting from your clients. If they're sending it through a portal, it's more secured, it's more protected, and everything's in one place. So if they're going back to look for something, it's all in one email thread.
Yeah.
Right, like our wire instructions to the buyers will go out in our secured, so they do have to, set up an account and go in and pull them.
Do you still recommend them calling you back to confirm?
Oh, yes.
I do know
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
recently, their client got an email right after signing, new wiring instructions.
Had that happen too.
It lost
Like
them.
600,000 almost got diverted. They said they were with Chicago Title. It was false. We caught it, thank goodness, but scary.
Yeah, there's a lot of fraud.
They're
I
so
get-
good at it.
It's crazy.
They
I
look
personally at
real.
least get 3
Yeah.
emails a week from random lender email addresses that say, here are the document, wants me to open a portal and open documents up, and I know right away they're fraud.
Yeah.
Because,
We get
I'm
them
not
for
in the
payoffs and
escrow
stuff
Yeah.
too.
So, speaking of fraud, there's something that's been going around, happening the last year or so, where, people would come to an agent and say, I own this piece of land over here, and I wanna sell it. And they could even, even go to the piece of land with the agent, say, this is my land, I wanna sell it. And they're not the sellers of the property. Is there anything that we can do as agents that can help, thwart that?
One thing is go into the taxes, you can mail a letter out to, like, welcome, thank you, to whatever address is in the taxes for that owner, that's what we do. Especially on vacant land and like refinances that are free and clear already and pulling equity. So we mail out a letter, for us too, for signing for the seller. The ROC'N signing, which is a remote online signing, is actually one of the safer ways to sign those vacant land people instead of an actual mobile notary.
Usually
'Cause
those
they
people
bet
won't
'em.
wanna meet with you,
Yeah.
or they're
Mhm.
more,
Yeah.
they're acting suspicious, they don't know how to answer certain questions. So we'll do the ROC'N signing, so they have to answer security questions that are personal to
Because they bet
them.
'em more.
It's an extra layer of security. We'll ask follow-up questions, we send out letters, we do our due diligence on our side as well.
And two, if people are not wanting to cooperate, that's a red flag.
Right.
Definitely.
Hey Jen, can you, clarify what the title inspection fee is when they see that on the settlement statement?
This is pretty.
It's just, it's a quick drive-by inspection that's required for the lender's title policy to, ensure both the owners and lender's title against mechanics liens. So, we send an actual construction going on, that there's not ladders, painters, outside, just so we can ensure against any future mechanics liens that
And
might
that it
pop
didn't
up
burn
after
down.
closing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big one.
I think I
Yeah.
saw a listing, there's an actual fully burnt down house that's on the list, on the MLS, somebody was showing me
Really?
recently, yeah, it was really weird. I'm like, that's gonna be a hard one to.
Years ago, there was an
have
out of
insurance on.
sight unseen buyer on a property, bought it cash, came out and it was no structure. Burned down.
Wow. So each one of you, this is a question for you, do you prefer to sign the clients at the table, or how do you handle your closings and your escrows when it comes time to sign the clients?
I personally have our notaries that we work with a lot come in and sign, that way I can continue to work, but I do pop in and say, hello, meet them, shake their hands, and then I come about halfway through the signing and make sure everything's okay, and then at the end I say bye and all that.
Okay,
I'm a mix,
you're a mix?
Yeah, so.
depending on what's going on my desk
Yeah.
and
I like to do my
it's the situations,
I like both.
So for our notaries, I know we have a pretty big pool of notaries, but how can we reassure that our notaries are kind of, even though they're not employed by Rock Title, but they do go through a check, right?
Mhm.
And we make sure that they
Mhm.
service and present as
Represent.
though,
Yes.
represent
We
as though
do
they're a
back-
part of us is what
all
our
of our
expectation
new
is.
notaries go through a vetting process, their background checks, they have to have, bonded insurance. And even our out-of-state notary companies, same thing, they all have to be vetted through our, OT1. Human Resources does that.
And feedback from the agents, if the agents go to the signing and, they don't agree with something the notary said, feedback is very helpful.
Yeah.
Because,
We won't use them again.
yeah,
Yeah.
we take it
I
very
think Laura,
seriously,
just,
so.
you had that one that Rhonda got.
Oh, in California?
Oh, yeah.
That was
Out-of-state
on her
notary
phone.
back because the person, I guess, was on their phone or something.
Yeah, we got her a refund because it was an out-of-state notary, so I like to do my own signings because that's just my favorite part of the job. I like to hear people's stories and it's fun for me to sit with the clients. So I have a couple of notaries that I work with personally. I know how they sign. I know that they're gonna take care of clients. They're gonna go over all the documents in detail. But sometimes we have out-of-state notaries. We work with the same companies. We have good relationships with them. And we got a complaint from a customer and we got her money back on the notary. So she didn't pay the notary fee at all. So, definitely don't be afraid to come with us. Come to us if you have any complaints or any issues.
But two, you have to understand notaries are there to witness signatures.
Mhm.
They're really not there to explain escrow and lender's documents, but when you get a seasoned notary, they'll, like we do, is, okay, this is your promissory note, interest rate, kind of go through a brief explanation.
I mean, even us as escrow, we're not allowed to explain the lender's documents. I mean, really, if they need, yeah. The best we can, yeah.
Or let us know if it's a first-time home buyer or somebody who's never been through the process and maybe they're nervous. We'll spend a little more time with them, explaining the documents, making sure they understand, asking follow-up questions, making them feel comfortable.
If the agents want to sign their clients here in the office, cause branding's powerful, what do they need to do? Just let you know?
Just let us know. We waive the fee too. So just like we waive the fee if you guys sign in our office, if you wanna sign here in your office and you feel more comfortable, we can do that and we don't charge a fee for that either.
We just need enough time to get docs back to our office if it's
Yeah.
like same day.
Same day closings, are really hard.
And make sure that there's rooms available for the signings.
So unfortunately, we experience cancellations in this business. We don't like them, but they happen. Do you guys have any recommendations or tips on how to, not necessarily avoid, but what they should do when it comes time to cancel a file and what to expect?
Probably easiest is when you're sending the fully executed cancellation, just if you're the buyer's agent, let us know where to send the money or if they want it wired or anything like that. Cause if they want it wired, then we have to have them fill out their full proceeds form or refund form. So, that sometimes takes a little bit longer because we're waiting for that to come back and all of that.
But where in the process do, obviously both parties have to agree for that EMD to be returned? Do you
Yeah,
ever,
so-
I don't know if I can even ask the question.
What if they
No,
don't
not
agree?
What if they don't agree? What happens?
Then your file goes into dispute and we withhold the money until you either agree, sometimes go to mediation, they can help them to agree, or you get a court order.
So it
Otherwise
just sits in the trust account?
And, yes, but it will only sit there, I don't know what the time is for us here.
Yeah, cause aren't we only
It's 2
allowed
to 3
hold it?
years.
Yeah.
And if the agents don't, or buyers, sellers don't keep us, so we keep noting our file, the money gets escheated to the state, and then it will be who's ever responsibility, buyer, seller, whoever, to prove to the state that that money's due them.
Is there an interest in, excuse me,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you're fine, you were already.
Is there an interest rate, that is charged on that money that is sitting there or
No,
just?
we're in a trust account, not interest bearing.
Okay, question for you. If a buyer writes a contract and they put their EMD, let's say it's 10,000 down. And then there's a balance that they wanna put in additional funds to be part of the EMD, like 70,000. And at some point they wanna release that to the seller. Is it possible to release all the EMD to the seller prior to closing without having any money left as far as EMD
Yeah.
withheld?
Yeah, just need written
We need
instructions.
written instructions, we'd need, it needs to be either on addendum or part of the contract, and then we, as escrow, have our own instructions, and then escrow will require that both parties sign our escrow instructions, that they've reviewed the preliminary title report, and sign our pre-release instructions, just to release liability, because there will be no money in our
Right.
trust account.
And nothing recorded,
And nothing recorded.
securing that buyer.
Exactly. Okay.
If I bring you a cash escrow today with no HOA, can I close tomorrow?
We'll talk to Matt.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. We've had Matt
And
here.
if there's not a payoff, or generally, well, trash sometimes take a day or two, but
We
it's
can do
possible. I
3 to
don't
5
know.
days.
Property too, cause if it's a property that hasn't been searched in a long time, sometimes there's some delays on that, or multiple parcels, or it just depends on the property.
Okay.
But yes, it is possible.
Does
Have you
anyone
ever
have
done
any of their own questions
I
right
do.
now before, I mean,
Not
I
in
can
a
keep
day.
going, I've got a lot, but
That would really
Okay,
be a
good,
lot
you
of
guys
lunches
go.
for me.
please.
I have a good question.
Yeah.
I just wanna make a comment, I have to go, but thank you so much, I normally use rough title, as you guys know. Cause especially now with this settlement, it's gonna be a great partnership with your escrow officer to have, to get those instructions, to make sure that everything's being followed as well. I like the red alerts, which are actually really good, I keep an eye out for those, again, because I had, incidents in the past, so definitely keep an eye on that. And also the, know before you list, the profiles, great tool, definitely thank you so much, so appreciate it. You guys do a great job. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay, but,
See you.
okay.
I have another question that comes up, actually, I get asked this question and I don't know the answer. On your openings, if you know that at the end, at the close, if it's gonna be a lease back or a post-possession, what would you like to see and what is a tip to avoid any problems with that at the end?
Post-possession instructions for starters.
Yeah,
Very
post-possession addendum
clear.
is very, yeah, the post-possession addendum.
Everybody
You can
knows
use that.
obviously what that is.
It has
We wanna make
everything in there that we need, all the information, and then just clear release dates on the security deposits. So it's not open-ended, when, how long,
Like
not
till-
just a date, but how long are you gonna hold the
Well,
security
who draws
deposit,
up the lease? Okay, I think we have a couple people that Cynthia, you said you don't know what that is. So post-possession or lease back is the, seller's gonna stay, so they're selling the house, but they're gonna stay.
There's an actual addendum for it in transaction.
Not everybody
You
uses
guys
it,
look
but it
for
makes
them,
things
so.
easier when they do use it.
So who writes up that lease or that extension of
Agents.
stay? The agents do, okay, that was my question.
But then I type up withhold instructions of my own, because we have to have written instructions from the buyer and the seller telling us how to release the security. Did they use up all the rent that we withheld, cause maybe they moved out early. So we need both parties to sign and let us know to release.
Yeah, just I think when doing those, be very specific on the terms of the rent back. Because like Kathleen says, when you don't use the full 2 weeks or 30 days, is that gonna change the amount?
Are we prorating any of the rent through escrow, or is it handled outside of escrow? A lot of people, the lenders don't wanna see any rent prorations, for rent back on the closing statement. So
They'll do it outside.
they'll do it
The
outside,
rent part, we'll do
and
the
then we'll just do the
security
security
deposit.
deposit. So the more specific you can be, the better,
Jackie had another question.
For, an assumption, because we're seeing like a lot of assumptions lately. What is your typical, turnaround time from the time you, like say the assumption paperwork has been filed, and you're waiting for the assumption review team to get back with you? What is a normal time frame for them to like get back with you?
Depends on the
The
lender.
lender, it's just like they have to qualify for the loan.
I just
I
had one
assume it.
close last week, and we had a 3-month escrow on it. It was denied and went to appeals, and then accepted, and, within 7 days of acceptance, we closed escrow, so.
I'm hearing a lot, 2 months is pretty common on assumptions,
No,
right?
I mean, just for them to get back with the title company, not to close it, just to communicate back with you,
No
after they've signed
longer.
the third-party authorization to speak with you.
We
Yeah.
just, cause we have to send them everything like a brand new loan,
Right.
the same, so.
So it doesn't, because I'm asking, because I'm actually in one right now, so it's the
Yeah.
assumption company, once they get it, then it has to go to the lender, so does the assumption company ever speak with you? Or we
They're-
only get the lender side, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Not the
they have their own
assumption.
process. So we open escrow, and then they do it within their own companies, and we kinda just hang
Send us
tight.
the assumption to documents to record.
Okay, now quick question, Jennifer, you said your assumption was denied and then went back, without going into details, was it denied, maybe on the buyer not qualifying, or something more intricate with the transaction?
I don't know the specific reason, but I don't believe, to me, from what it looked like, the lender just didn't wanna do it. But, so they had to take it to court, and the lender was forced to do it, so.
To court, really?
Yeah,
Horrible.
That is
Wow.
yeah, the appeals
If
court.
you have an
was the-
assumable loan.
Right, it's assumable, no matter what.
Yeah,
The
so
lender doesn't make any money and the interest rates are
it
low.
was a
Yeah.
3.125, so 3.25 interest rate that the
Yeah,
seller just
so
assumed,
they wanna go get that
so we
6,
got a great
7%.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. But that's a good selling point though, with that interest.
Yeah, that lender could take that same money and get 6, 7, 8% for it.
Right.
So, like every escrow company has their pricing system. So when you guys, I mean, you can answer this, when you guys say 30% discount for the seller, agents, buyer agents. So what would be the typical dollar amount of that 30%? Is that, was that 30%?
It's 30% of your escrow fee.
Yeah, so it's a
Escrow
settlement
price.
fee.
Based on your sales price.
Generally, it's between like
$200.
$150
$200.
to $250.
It's 200, yeah, depending on the
$200.
sales price.
$300 each
Okay.
setup.
The savings
Each side.
on both sides.
Both sides.
We
All
do
the
have
time.
other discounts as well, but that's,
That's the
good
route.
point to get your buyer, if you have a listing, get the buyer something.
Oh,
And if you guys are fighting over fees, like there's another escrow company and they're concerned, we have 3 underwriters now. We just got our 3rd one approved, so we can look at all the different numbers and play around with it and see who has the lowest prices for your deal.
You guys can always come to me for a nut sheet as well, and we can work it
Most
all
of
out.
the time, escrow price is not an issue.
Yeah,
Never.
but the title insurance can change quite a bit depending on the deal.
Yeah.
So we have 3 different title insurance companies, is what I'm saying, that we can offer.
So First American is one of them, who are the other two?
Doma is the second, and then what's the one we just got?
Is it First
National?
Yeah.
They're new, so we're just getting our toes wet.
That helps us because if you have investors or you have complicated deals, there's certain underwriters we know that will work easier with investors, or a certain type of transaction that maybe is a little riskier, they'll underwrite it, whereas another one won't. So it's good to have more
Doma
options, so
seems
we
to be a
swap
little bit more lax on things than First
Last and
American.
faster. First American, they're good, but they're strict. So,
So we'll see how the new one does
Yeah.
too. It's nice.
Do you guys have any questions of your own? It's 10:30, so I didn't wanna hold anybody up. I mean, is there any situations you are in or have been in, or anything that,
It's not just questions for you guys, but for everybody in this room. What is the best practices when you work for a buyer? Cause a lot of times, it's the buyer option, especially when they're getting a loan, to request the title insurance. But with being short in inventory, it seems like mostly agents, not the sellers, would ask for their own title insurance, and then we would go back and forth. I don't wanna stop a transaction just because of that, but anybody had like a good luck with like pushing for their own buyer for the title
So,
company?
question for you, does the buyer really care?
That'd be your first question to the
Yeah.
buyer is, what do you, and I had a client that specifically wanted Fidelity, they'd always worked with Fidelity. I'm like, okay, then Fidelity it is, you know, but ask your, you're gonna be very rare to find a buyer that says, I specifically have to have this company.
It's not the buyer, but then there's a lot of companies that personally I haven't heard of. And years ago I worked with a title company that actually were going out of business, and my buyer had earnest money deposit there, and I had to fight to get that money back to my buyer. So that's why I was asking for best practices. Basically, we are on the line to protecting our buyer and their earnest money deposit in the title company that we're gonna be working with.
Well, legally, it is the buyer's choice.
It
It's like
is,
your
but
car
there's still-
insurance,
Yeah,
house insurance,
Or
your
title
title
insurance.
insurance.
so there's not
So-
really a best practices.
It kinda goes with the market. Is it the buyer's market or
Yeah.
the seller's
Yeah,
market?
when you
That's
have
who
multiple
directs.
offers, you can't really
And
push
it's always been
for
that
your own
way.
buyer.
I have a
Alright.
great, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I guess I'm just gonna do what I do.
One thing that I've had my agents call me and say, hey, do you mind calling the agent and just introducing yourself? And sometimes just that connection is enough to get us the escrow. If they know we're responsive, we answer the phone right away, we reached out, hey, do you need fees? Do you have any questions for me? Is this a specific case where it's an investor and they already have used this other title company? And sometimes the objections are very small on why they wanna use their title company, and we're able to overcome those.
Thank you.
Yeah, also,
Jackie, wait,
another
really-
tip
wait.
would be,
Oh,
sorry.
Michael, hold on, I just don't want you to lose your
No,
thought.
no
I
problem.
know.
I've only had buyers, ask me to try and get the same title company if they're selling their home and buying another home, and they have a title and escrow with one particular company on the sale of their home.
Because that's easier
That
to
is much
transfer
easier.
from one to the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
time-wise.
Especially if you wanna close same day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can also, I mean, if you think you have that experience of title company, bankruptcy or out of business, sometimes you may need to check the Better Business Bureau as well.
Yeah.
See what is there anything, mentioned or stated about that company's
Yeah.
background, past customers' experience. I will give you an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you have a relationship, like with us, then you could sell us to say, well, they get it done their own time, that way too, we trust them.
I believe everyone's business card is up front now, I think I
I
stopped.
got my new ones, yes, I put up
Okay,
when I
good.
came in.
Yeah,
I had the stuff, the
So,
old address.
all 6 of our escrow officers, their business cards are up front on the front desk now, so it's exciting to be able to promote and market our entire team to you guys in this office, so.
And if you haven't seen, their office in the Southwest off of Russell and 215, it's a beautiful office.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're offering a lot of CE classes now too. We're trying to do them once a month over there. So you guys always can have an opportunity, or if you wanna just stop by and see the office, it's a nice signing space. We like to meet you guys, just say hi.
We have a CE class on the 15th, if anybody needs CE.
Home is possible.
Home is possible.
General CE, what is it,
3 hours general.
What time?
9:30 to, it's 9:30 to 12:30.
You're gonna send an email on that, right?
Yeah, well,
We're not supposed to
No.
send an email, but.
At least send one to me.
Yeah, you guys can email us.
There's flyers
and we'll
back
give you
there.
the information
Okay.
now. Yeah.
yeah, I just did, I threw them in the trash. Respectfully, it's being, provided by Geneva Financial, a lender, and we wanna respect that we have our Epic team here, so. Just contact me if you wanna get on the RSVP list. Thanks so much, you guys, for coming today, really appreciate it, and to my team, you are all amazing. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you all for joining us. Remember, no matter how you slice of greatness is a choice. Let's go out and be great.